I was 10 when my father died and the house fell silent. The kind of silence that grows heavy, like smoke in a room with no windows. My mother followed him 2 moons later. Her body wasted by grief, or maybe something else I still don't understand. That's when Mama Ngozi came into my life. All smiles and soft words at first, like honey poured over hot coals. But have you ever noticed how quickly sweetness can turn sour when it was never genuine to begin with? She was my father's second wife, but not the one who raised me. When she took me in, she wore kindness like perfume, drenching every sentence with it. But kindness has a shelf life, especially when there's no blood between you. Soon enough, the truth showed itself. I became her shadow, fetching water before sunrise, scrubbing floors until my knees bled, cooking meals for her sons while I ate what they left behind. You might wonder why the gods test some of us so harshly, while others never know what it means to suffer. At 16, I was nothing more than a ghost in her house, seen only when needed, heard only when I made mistakes. She called me lazy, cursed my mother's name under her breath, and told everyone I was ungrateful. But I kept quiet. Silence was safer. It kept the beatings to a minimum. Little did I know that my greatest trial was yet to come, and that sometimes our deepest wounds can lead us to unexpected blessings. One night, she handed me a small clay pot and told me to go to the market square and buy palm oil from Old Man Ease. "It's late," I said, clutching the pot like it might protect me. She laughed, sharp as broken glass. "Then walk fast," she said, "and don't come back without it." The look in her eyes made my blood run cold. There was something there I couldn't name, something that made me wonder if she wanted me to return at all. The moon was high, and the air was thick with the smell of roasted plantains and wood smoke. The market was empty except for stray dogs and shadows. I hurried past stalls with torn canopies and old banana peels stuck to the ground. When I reached Old Man Ease's stall, he wasn't there. Just his stool and a calabash full of coins. Strange, I thought, as he never left his money unattended. Had someone seen me coming and hidden away? I waited there, trembling, as the night grew darker and the shadows longer. Every sound made me jump. The screech of an owl, the rustle of palm fronds in the night breeze, the distant drumming from a compound celebrating a new birth. Just as I decided to leave, a figure appeared from behind the row of plantain trees. It was Chidi, Mama Ngozi's nephew who had come to visit just last week. "Adanna," he called. "What are you doing here alone?" Before I could answer, more men emerged from the darkness. I recognized them as friends of Mama Ngozi's eldest son. Their eyes gleamed with something that made my heart pound against my ribs. What happened next left me broken in ways I never knew a person could break and still live. 2 months passed, and my body began to change. My stomach swelled, my breasts grew tender, and morning sickness plagued me daily. I tried to hide it, but nothing escapes Mama Ngozi's sharp eyes. "So," she said one evening as I served dinner, "you've gone and gotten yourself in trouble." Her voice was calm, but her eyes danced with cruel satisfaction. What will people say about the orphan girl who behaves like a dog in heat? I stood there, frozen as tears leaked from my eyes. Had she known all along what would happen that night? The question hung in the air between us, unasked, but understood. The village began to whisper. Fingers pointed. Children were told not to play with me. Even the market women who once slipped me extra pieces of fish or ripe mangoes now turned their faces away when I approached. "Don't worry." Mama Ngozi told visitors loudly enough for me to hear from the kitchen. "I've found a solution for the shame she's brought upon our household." What solution could there be for a girl like me in our village? I wondered if she planned to send me away, to have me work as a servant in some distant relative's home. But Mama Ngozi had something far more twisted in mind. One afternoon, as I pounded yam for the evening meal, a strange man appeared at our compound. His clothes were tattered, his beard wild and unkempt. He mumbled to himself and laughed at nothing. The village children called him Onya'ara, the Madman. He lived at the edge of the forest in a hut made of palm fronds and mud, surviving on food people left for him out of pity or fear. Some said he was once a great hunter who had seen something in the forest that stole his mind. Others whispered that he had killed his own brother and the gods had punished him with madness. Whatever the truth, everyone gave him a wide berth. Everyone except Mama Ngozi, who invited him into our compound and offered him palm wine. "This is Akane," she said to me later, her voice dripping with false concern. "He has agreed to take you as his wife." The pestle fell from my hands and thudded against the wooden mortar. "Wife?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. "But he's a man who needs a woman to care for him," she cut in. "And you're a woman who needs a husband before that belly grows any bigger. The bride price has been paid." "Paid? With what?" Akini had nothing. Then I understood. This wasn't about bride price or marriage. This was punishment. This was Mama Ngozi's final act of cruelty, to send me away with a man who could offer me nothing but further suffering. The wedding was a mockery. No celebration, no dancing, no feasting. Just a few words spoken by the village elder who couldn't meet my eyes, and the exchange of kola nuts. Ekene grinned throughout the ceremony, revealing gaps where teeth should have been. As we walked to his hut at the forest's edge, me carrying my few possessions in a cloth bundle, him skipping and chattering like an excited child, I wondered if death might have been kinder than this fate. But something my mother once told me echoed in my mind. When the road ahead seems darkest, that is when you must look for the light the gods have hidden for you to find. Akane's hut was surprisingly clean, though sparsely furnished. A sleeping mat, some carved wooden figures that looked strangely beautiful, birds in flight, antelopes leaping, fish swimming. "You made these?" I asked, touching one gently. He nodded, suddenly still and quiet. "I see things," he said, his voice different now, deeper, steadier. "Things others don't see." Our eyes met, and for a moment, I saw something there. Not madness, but a deep, knowing intelligence. Then he laughed his crazy laugh, and the moment passed, leaving me wondering if I'd imagined it. That night, he slept outside the hut, leaving me alone on the sleeping mat. The next morning, he brought me fresh mangoes and a handful of kola nuts. "For the baby," he said, placing them carefully beside me. I stared at him, confused. How did he know to care for a pregnant woman? Why wasn't he acting like the madman everyone thought him to be? Days passed, then weeks. Akini never touched me, never harmed me. He hunted during the day, bringing back bush meat and wild fruits. He carved his wooden figures by firelight. And sometimes, when he thought I was sleeping, he spoke to the night in a voice so sane and measured, it made me question everything I thought I knew about him. One night, I pretended to sleep, but watched through half-closed eyes as Akane removed his tattered clothes and washed himself with water from a calabash. In the moonlight that filtered through the roof, I saw his back, covered in ritual scars, the mark of a chieftain's son. This was no ordinary madman. This was someone born to wealth and power. What had happened to bring him so low, and why did he maintain this charade? The rains came, heavy and relentless. Water leaked through the roof of our hut, forming puddles on the dirt floor. I developed a fever, my body burning even as I shivered under the thin blanket. Akane placed cool leaves on my forehead and brewed a bitter tea that he helped me drink. "Don't die," he whispered, his voice clear and commanding. "Your child needs you. I need you." In my fever dreams, I saw him as he might have been, tall and proud, dressed in the robes of an important man, speaking words that others rushed to obey. When the fever broke, I looked at him differently. "Who are you really?" I asked him one evening as we sat outside the hut, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. He was quiet for so long I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, "I am Akine, son of Chief Okafor of the Umunze clan." My breath caught. The Umunze clan was wealthy and powerful, known for their skill in medicine and divination. "But the madness is a mask," he finished. "One I've worn for 5 years now." Slowly, piece by piece, he told me his story. How his father's second wife had poisoned him after he discovered her affair with a trader from across the river. How the poison hadn't killed him, but had left him weak and ill for months. How he'd fled when he overheard her planning to finish what she'd started. "I knew she would never look for a madman," he said. "And neither would her lover." As my belly grew rounder, Akinian and I formed a cautious friendship. He taught me about healing herbs and how to carve wood. I cooked meals that made him close his eyes in pleasure and fixed the leaks in our roof. We were two broken people, making something whole together, something unexpected. but I still jumped at shadows and woke crying from nightmares of that terrible night at the market. Some wounds heal slowly, if they heal at all. The baby came during a thunderstorm, lightning splitting the sky as I pushed and screamed and prayed to gods I wasn't sure were listening. Akini was there, his hands steady, his voice calm as he guided me through the pain. When it was over, he placed a daughter in my arms. Tiny and perfect, with a dusting of dark hair and eyes that seemed to hold all the wisdom of our ancestors. Chimamanda, I whispered, naming her. My God will not fail me. Akini touched her cheek with one gentle finger. She is beautiful, he said, like her mother. Word spread through the village about the birth. Some came bringing small gifts, a hand-woven basket, a tiny beaded anklet, a soft cloth for swaddling. They looked at Akini differently now, with confusion rather than fear. A true madman couldn't deliver a baby, couldn't keep a hut so orderly, couldn't speak with such gentle authority about caring for a newborn. Questions hung in the air, unasked but present. One day, a group of men from the Umunze clan arrived at our hut. They had been searching for their lost son for years, they said, never stopping even when others told them to accept his death. Aken stood tall before them, the mask of madness gone completely now. My father? He asked. The oldest of the men stepped forward. Is with the ancestors now, he said, and your stepmother confessed her crimes before joining him. It is time for you to come home and take your place as chief. Akine looked at me, then at Chimamanda sleeping peacefully in my arms. My place, he said firmly, is with my family. The Umunze elders were silent for a long moment. Then the oldest nodded slowly. Then they must come too, he said. The child of your heart, if not your blood, and the woman brave enough to see beyond appearances. Our clan will be stronger for having them. And so it was decided. We would go to Akini's ancestral home, where he would take his rightful place, and I would stand beside him, not as the madman's wife, but as the partner of a chief. Before we left, there was one more thing to do. Akini and I walked to Mama Ngozi's compound, Chimamanda strapped to my back. The woman who had caused me so much pain stumbled backward when she saw us, her eyes wide with disbelief. You sent me into darkness, I told her, my voice steady, but I found light instead. You meant to destroy me, but you led me to my destiny. Her mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. What could she say? The orphan she had despised now stood before her as the wife of a chief, while her own sons still struggled to find their place in the world. As we turned to leave, Akini spoke. In our compound, there will always be a place for orphans and those in need, he said. Not out of pity, but because we know that every person carries gifts within them, waiting to be discovered. He took my hand, and together we walked away, toward a future neither of us could have imagined on that terrible night when Mama Ngozi handed me a clay pot and sent me into the darkness. Now, as I watch my daughter playing with her half-brothers, children Akini and I have brought into the world together, I think about the twisting path that led me here. I think about how the worst night of my life led me eventually to the best days I have known. I think about how what was meant to destroy me became instead the seed of my redemption. And I remember what my mother told me in those days before grief took her from me, that our ancestors watch over us, turning evil to good in ways we cannot foresee. Maybe that's the greatest magic of all, not the power to avoid suffering, but the strength to find blessing within it. So if you are in the darkness now, if you are carrying wounds that seem too deep to heal, if you have been betrayed by those who should have protected you, look for the hidden light. It may come in a strange disguise. It may lead you down paths you never wanted to walk, but trust that your story is not over yet. Trust that what others intend for evil can be transformed into something beautiful. Trust that you, like me, can rise from the ashes of betrayal and find your way home. If this story stirred something in you, don't just scroll by. Let it breathe. Let it sit with you. And when you're ready, like it, share it, subscribe if your soul says yes. Drop your truth in the comments. Have you ever found light in the middle of your night? I want to know. We all do. And if you need reminding, your story isn't over. You're still here, still breathing, still rising. So turn on that bell and let's walk this journey together, one story at a time. Until next time. Stay brave, stay rooted, and never stop looking for the light.